Joining me for more on the potential fallout of the leak is Jack Midgley. He's the principal at the Midgley and Company, a strategic consulting firm. Thanks very much for your time there, Jack. Now, how real are these pages and what do they tell us, or the Kremlin for that matter?
Well, the documents look real. They have the appearance of briefing documents that would be used with top military staffs like the Organization of the Joint Chiefs of Staff in the United States. So they have the appearance of being real. Whether they've been altered or modified, whether they've been completely fabricated from old examples, it's impossible to tell just by examining the documents. If they are authentic, there's a great deal of disturbing data in here about the progress of the war, about the U.S. level of involvement, and about the level of training and preparation of the Ukrainian forces. So although it's difficult to say where these came from, the information in them, if it's correct, is quite disturbing.
So, I mean, we know that some of the documents are marked top secret, others to be shared only with America's closest intelligence allies. How much of this information that you describe as disturbing is new? What is disturbing about it?
Well, I think, again, if this data is accurate, what it tells us is that there is a far more significant U.S. presence in the Ukraine war than has been previously reported. For example, the documents tell us that there are, in fact, U.S. Special Operations soldiers on the ground in Ukraine. It tells us that there are 100 U.S. government personnel on the ground in Ukraine. It tells us that 17 United States Navy ships and some very significant U.S. ground forces are involved in training and preparation. It tells us that in a 24-hour period, 72 combat aircraft sorties were flown by United States units over or near Ukraine. That's a very high level of involvement, and it supports the view that this is not a NATO operation or an international operation, but it is a U.S. operation. And I think that may well have been the intended message from whoever leaked these documents.
So not only do the leaked documents say a lot about the state of Ukraine's military and, as you say, the US involvement, they also talk about some of Washington's other allies, from Israel to South Korea, revealing internal debates those countries are having about the conflict and other sensitive issues. What do you think that this could mean for the relationship and the sharing of intelligence between the US and its allies?
I don't think that the impact there will be very substantial at all. U.S. allies understand and recognize that the U.S. collects intelligence on countries around the world, both allies and potential adversaries. If this in fact was a leak and not just a fabrication of some kind, then it tells our allies that some additional care needs to be taken with these documents. The documents themselves indicate that not just international methods, but human intelligence collection, classified imagery intelligence, communication sources, were all involved in assembling these documents. And the fact that they may have been purposefully disclosed says that there's an intelligence or security problem, obviously, at the Pentagon. But I don't think any of our allies will be surprised by the fact that this information is being collected.
Just finally, you mentioned that the documents indicate that the US has a heavy involvement, not so much it being a broader Western NATO operation. In Kiev, officials have spoken about the leak as part of a possible disinformation campaign by Russia, but other military officials have suggested that possibly this is part of a Western plot to mislead Russian commanders. What do you think is the most likely scenario here?
Well, there are so many possible motivations. The Ukrainians, of course, want this to be a Russian disinformation operation. It's in their interests that it should be. From the American side, there's simply embarrassment. It's impossible to know, just based on the documents themselves, who the who the actual leaker was or what their intended purpose was. And we need to keep that in mind so that people don't overinterpret or overanalyze these documents until they can be confirmed from another source, or until the Pentagon comments further on the provenance of these documents. Where did they come from?
All right, Jack Midgley, really appreciate your time.